Good evening and welcome to the October 23rd meeting of the Livermore City Council. I call the meeting to order. Next, we'll be considering the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull anything for consent or for discussion?
So 5.3, just for everyone, is the graffiti abatement amendment for the municipal code. I sent a lot of very specific questions to staff about it, so I'm not going to go through all of those, but I just wanted to kind of get a summary of your responses to me. The ordinance, I had concerns that it would potentially punish people who had been a victim of a crime, and I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing with this, providing people ample opportunities to clean up the graffiti and helping work with them. And so if I could get just a summary of kind of how it works.
We've learned from other cities, and based on our own experience, the more quickly we can clean up graffiti, the less likely it is to proliferate. So we're focused on that primarily with these ordinance changes. We have Frank Lafarge here, who heads our neighborhood preservation division, and the staff is very focused on working with residents, with property owners. We do understand that this is an impact to them. They are the victim of a crime here, but we are asking them to clean up their property as quickly as possible. And we set timeframes through our ordinance. We set a 7-day timeframe for cleanup. But as a matter of practice, if people need more time, if they've been on vacation, we work with them proactively. And the goal really is to work together to clean things up and keep them clean.
I remember a few months ago, I had a citizen complain to me and came to you, and we've worked out a lot of the hiccups. I think we're really working with people, and I just want to make sure that that's the case, that we continue to work with our residents and make sure that we're a partner for helping clean up.
I will also add, this is your city manager, Mariana Marashova, that we also have free graffiti removal kits available to our community. We publicize this availability. We also recently posted a video on social media on how to use those kits. So we try to work with the community as much as possible to make it easier to remove graffiti.
We have a couple of comments that I like to, but yeah, you can join the mayor as a graffiti fighter. Couple of comments I have on the consent calendar. With item 5.2, that's regarding the hangar wait lists. It's updating some of the language at the airport. And while I can't bring it up on 5.2, just to give everybody a little bit of notice, in matters initiated, I will ask the council to initiate updating the minimum standards at the airport to require the sale of unleaded fuel. I understand that there may actually be a spare tank down there that we may be able to employ. So I will be asking for that during matters initiated, that we modify the language for the minimum standards at the airport to require the sale of unleaded fuel. Item 5.5, which is some of the street improvements around Railroad. Those are your Measure BB dollars at work. That was passed by the voters in 2014. This is a 6.1, this is a hearing to consider the Housing and Human Services needs and Housing and Human Services grant priorities.
My name is Amy Walker. I'm the Human Services Management Analyst for the Human Services Division. The item before you tonight is the Housing and Human Services Grant Program priorities for fiscal year 24-25. Every year, the City of Livermore's Housing and Human Services Grant Program brings together multiple federal and local funds to address critical community needs such as food for seniors and shelter for homeless. The city is an entitlement recipient of the Community Development Block Grant Program, and for the current fiscal year, we received approximately $404,865. As an entitlement recipient, these priorities are based on input from Livermore's nonprofit, service providers, and community members about the most pressing housing and human services needs, and will inform the fiscal year 24-25 Housing and Human Services grant application process to select projects serving low-income, senior, youth, homeless, and disabled Livermore residents. And tonight, the Human Service Commission and staff are recommending that City Council adopt a resolution approving the Housing and Human Services grant priorities for fiscal year 24-25.
Just a quick comment on it. Having gone through the process a lot, I want to thank you particularly for the amount of work that goes into all the outreach. I know we found when I was on the Human Services Commission, there were things that might seem very logical that were overlooked or, just came up in discussion with the community that I believe ultimately led to the shower program being brought here, as well as some other programs that have been implemented over the last, decade. So this process is huge. It's really great. I know it's a lot of work, so I just want to thank you very much. And I appreciate the recommendations.
So do we have any data on how many people we've prevented from becoming homeless through the rental assistance?
I personally don't have that offhand, but that's something. we
That
can
may
get
be
with-
hard to measure. I understand that, but I just wonder if that's really important for, I think, for our community. I mean, in some sense, I talked about the guaranteed basic income at the last meeting, and I think, this is another approach. I mean, we call it rental assistance, but it's a way of helping people to keep them from falling into homelessness. So I appreciate that. And I guess I'm glad to hear that CDBG can be used in that way. And I hope we continue to look at that again.
The next speaker is Carl Wente.
Mr. Mayor, Council, staff, wonderful staff, great people. Thank you again all for what you do. Society should be judged on how we look after our most destitute. I think many people have said that. You can go to Mother Teresa, often quoted with that one, Dalai Lama as well. Society should be judged based on how we take care of those most in need, those the most destitute. So appreciate a lot of the different approach. Think differently, putting money to work, think creatively. People are cold out there. I want to resoundingly support Greg Scott's metric. In God we trust. Everyone else come with data. Appreciate you asking for more data about what we know about it. Those that have died on our watch, with humility and respect, I would like to take 15 seconds of my time in silence for them. I think that is a fair thing to be judged by, and it's a tough one. This ain't an easy task of what we've got going, but appreciate thinking creative, thinking differently, putting resources to work. And as we go through this, sorry, I should probably get close. Structure to support strategy, strategy to support vision. Structure to support strategy, strategy to support vision. So how are the committees, the advisory committees, how are they structured? How can we get it? How can Greg Scott get his answer to that? How can we use it? How can it flow? How can he sit on that? Hopefully he'll come with a passion for good, not passion for anger, which he is, and justifiably so. So again, thank you, Greg Scott, for what you do. Thank you for asking about data. May we look into it and continue to look after those most destitute. And CDBG, Community Development Budget General.
Block
You guys
grants.
throw out this one,
Block
like
grants.
educate us out here because we're
Community
wondering.
development block grants.
Block grants. Okay, so asking for money, state or federal dollars as it comes in. As it relates to grants, as everybody well knows, just reiterating, the better organized, managed the city is, the easier it is for that money to come. So again, the compliments to how we're working together to drive us, try and bring these dollars into our community to then put them to work as we go forward. So takes leadership from above, those willing to serve, takes good people right here. So again, thank you all for what you do. Put resources to work, and I support Mr. Scott's metric, as sad as that is.
Councilmember Carlin.
Captain Boberg, do you know the answer to the number of homeless that have died? Do we keep, is that data someplace? Yeah, I think that'd be important. Josh, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that the county does a homeless mortality report that does include data from each city in Alameda County. And we are working, well, the county's working on completing an updated report. And we did reach out to the homeless liaison officers to self-report any deaths that they know of are unsheltered in the community. We've also reached out to our nonprofit providers like City Serve and some of the others that if they know of any of their clients that have died because of homelessness, to report that to the county as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to address some of the speakers' concerns and comments and some things that are brought up for me. First of all, I just want to open by saying just very clearly, no one should die alone, unsheltered. No one should sleep in the rain. No one should be cold at night. Like, none of that is acceptable. I will say, I think, I've served on a number of bodies related to this. I've been on the Human Services for Livermore. I've been on Alameda Public Health. Now at council, I get different perspectives on all of this. So I do know a lot of the history and actually the answers to some of the questions or ideas that were brought forth. So first of all, we don't have a public health department in Livermore. So when we're thinking of the different things we can do, like one of the limitations we have is what we can control. And so without a public health department, there are some limits to the spending, influence, data, power that we have to affect some of the issues that were brought up. I do think that the county does a good job with an incredibly underfunded department. The staff in the public health department is amazing. Having worked with them, they are all heroes working incredibly hard on issues that are life and death for so many people. And I know our city works well with them. And I know they help us a lot with some of the programs we do here, but we can't take the entirety of public health on to the city. It would bankrupt the city. We don't have that ability. A lot of the funding that comes through also is housing first funds. Speaking with council, I've brought this up many times. I know the data. Housing first, bar none, is the best program we have to help people. However, we do not have the funds to provide housing for every single person. I hope some point we do get there. And I do think, contrary to what Mr. Scott said, we can't solve the problem unless there is housing for everyone. You cannot inherently, there is no way to solve homelessness unless there is a space for every person to stay. Any other solution is a paradox. If there is not a home, where do you go? So I'm glad and proud of the programs that Livermore does to provide housing at all levels. We're working on providing housing that's affordable for teachers. We're working on providing housing that's affordable for engineers. We're working on providing housing that is affordable for people working in fast food. We're doing a lot, and not all of it is reflected in this report. I wish we had the resources for a lot more. I do want to echo what some of the other council members have brought up. The creative solutions are something that we're always looking for.
7.1. This is a resolution improving the amended and restated employment contract for the city manager, followed by 7.2 for the city attorney. Can we do these both at once?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's the idea.
Okay.
This is your city
Good.
manager again, Mariana Marasheva, and our Director of Administrative Services, Tina Olson, is going to present both items.
I'm Tina Olson, your Administrative Services Director, and I will be presenting the city manager and city attorney contract amendments. So we're going to start with the city manager's contract. That's the first item. So the city manager's contract requires council to conduct an annual performance evaluation, after which council may make modifications to the terms and condition to the city manager's contract. And as you know, city council conducted the city manager's performance evaluation on October 9th in closed session, after which council discussed the city manager's requested contract modifications and directed the evaluation subcommittee to finalize the contract terms with the city manager. The city attorney's contract amendment, similar to the city manager's contract, the city council is to conduct an annual performance evaluation of the city attorney and make modifications to the terms and conditions of the city attorney's contract. And also on October 9th, the city council conducted the city attorney's performance evaluation in closed session, after which council discussed the city attorney's requested contract modifications and directed the evaluation subcommittee to finalize the contract terms with the city attorney.
Is there any public comment?
Yes, sir. Carl Wente.
But fundamentally, hearing what other people have to say about our city, it's complimentary of the jobs that are being done. And so just saying thank you for that. May it be ongoing. Not an easy job, and then not easy managing a transition, new people, new folks, new people on the team, new council members up there, so lots going on, but keeping it flowing. It's great to hear people say good things about how our city's operating.
So with that, there being no further business coming before the council, I'm going to adjourn this to the next meeting of November 13th. Thank you very much.